Goeiemorgen, good morning, kia ora, and to my Capitanian friends away. Guys and girls, good morning. This morning is all about you, all the questions and answers you can think of. So I'm here specifically to answer any questions that you do have. So feel free to post them. Good morning, goeiemorgen, Dion, morgen, Andri. So let's see if there's any questions yet come in. Nothing yet. Let me start off by telling you a few things about New Zealand this morning. Lovely morning. As you saw outside, it's actually wind still. It went down to about 9 degrees tonight. So it's beginning to get a bit colder down there. And then it actually would have been a lovely day for fishing. So I close that door correctly. Could have been a lovely day for fishing actually if you look outside. So morning to Elaine, morning to Rick, morning to Odette. Yeah, there was a question the other day about why did I decide on New Zealand and not anywhere else. On the flip side, I tried Canada. I did try Australia. I had they do these type of sessions with you, and then you give them all answers and everything else and degrees, blah blah blah, and then they come back to you, and then you can make a decision on that. Good morning, Elsaby, Liana, Yolandi, Dirk, Johnny, Neil, Elsaby. They came back with all these different things of where I can stay and what I can do and so forth. Canada sounded like a good thing. So Australia at that stage, I had to do about another 4-year course just to get in there. So I thought, geez, my age, I'm not wanting to do another 4 years or something, and then you're still not guaranteed to get in there. Morning, Neil, Elzaan, Henry, Mariska. Then we backed off to thought about Canada. I spoke to somebody in Canada and actually offered me a type of job there, but the 6 months working, 6 months off because of snow, it just didn't. For this Vrystaat boykie, it just didn't make sense at all. So to stay at home for 6 months, I mean, I'm bored as crazy down here, and it's only week 2 now. And how should I have been at home 6 months down if I had to stay out because of snow? So that Canada didn't gel anymore for me. So then we looked at New Zealand, and the first thing was why New Zealand? And yeah, I don't know exactly why New Zealand. It looked like one of the countries that could take me with my background. It's not that easy for a financial advisor to get a job anywhere. It's a bit of a difficult situation. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Chantel. So we looked at New Zealand, and first thing I had to do is to go look and see where is New Zealand. So that was the big thing. If you look on a world map, New Zealand is probably that small thing down there at the bottom, all around the world. And then we had to make up the decision: are we thinking of that, or are we not thinking about that, or should we go and have a look? So we thought about, let's go and have a look before we think about that. And I think from very first day that we arrived in New Zealand, we had good feedback from ourselves, from everybody around us, and so forth. So we stayed here for 2 weeks in 2016, and that's the time that we made the decision. That's when I received the job offer, and well, here we are now. Morning to David. Neil de Toy asking, do you know if Immigration New Zealand is still doing visas? As everything else, they are in lockdown. If they are still doing visas, I really don't know. I can't give you that offhand. I will have to speak to Anita, and if they are really doing visas, I think it'll be at a very slower pace than they did in the past. We've given our passport, we sent everything off to them for our permanent residence because you need a rubber stamp for that. They have returned our passports on the first day of lockdown, so everything is with them, but we haven't had anything back from them, and this normally takes about a week or so. So this is a bit of a bummer for everybody. So if you were thinking of flying over as soon as the lockdown is lifted, probably not going to happen. So, all right, guys and girls, any other questions? They ask your questions this morning. I'm all open for any question, anything you want to know about New Zealand. Don't ask me anything really about South Africa. You can ask me about New Zealand, ask me whatever you want to. To tell you, I haven't never been to the South Island. I've read a lot about the South Island. I watched all the videos of the South Island, but I've never been to South Island. South Island is, I think, will be my next overseas trip. So, but I am going there. I actually had plans to go there. I would have been there in the South Island now, but then lockdown happened, and I think our plans has changed a bit. We will probably go to South Island by the end of the year more, if we are allowed to fly there. And if they lock down the country further for outside, we'll probably, most probably, rather go to the South Island than anywhere else. Question from Viljoen Miller: What will be the best be regarding your will? Will your South Africa be valid in New Zealand, or must you have do a new will? Does in and out of community play a big role in New Zealand? Your South African will is valid only in South Africa. Two different jurisdictions, two different rechtsstelsels, two different laws in both countries. So you need a New Zealand will and you need a South African will. If you still got stuff in South Africa, if you've got nothing left in South Africa, you don't need a South African will. But some people still has houses in South Africa, so you need a will for every country that you are, or do you have, where you have assets in. And even if you're coming here to New Zealand and you have got nothing except your kids, you still need a will. Because what happens to you if you die, or if both of you die? That is one of those big questions in life that nobody knows what to answer. Is when are we going to die? So to answer your question there, Dion, I would suggest get yourself a New Zealand will as soon as possible. I know the lawyers charge about $700 each. You need one for your wife and you need one for yourself. You need two different wills. There's no joint wills. And then in and out of community property doesn't play a big role in New Zealand. A big role plays your partnership. Have you been with the wife or your partner for a period? I think it's of 6 months, and thereafter you're liable. If you've been with that person for 6 months, you're liable. So it's one of those things. For me, I've been with my wife for about 24 years. I'm quite liable for her. So keep that in mind. Neil asking, he has had a job offer and with a contract already signed. If the employer hasn't pulled back your job offer yet, then you are still on. Keep that in mind. Sometimes they will pull back the offers, and there's a reason why, because of the economic uncertainty. It's not about you. It's about the economic uncertainty currently. Amanda Swanepoel asking, will you visit Gisborne again? I will visit Gisborne again, and if I've got a few clients up there, down there, so I need to go and visit Gisborne again. And then I see some of my personal friends want to go and live in Gisborne. Now, Gisborne is one of those little places. It's out there in the Gramadulas, as we said in South Africa, or in the sticks as they call it here. Little town, very much the size of Wynberg in the Free State. But I think a bit more going on than Wynberg. We've got an ocean on the side, which is not, it's quite a shallow part of the ocean down there, so you need to go very far out to catch fish. So Monday, if you're going to Gisborne, remember, buy a boat that can go far. Then I will really come and visit you guys down there. Will in New Zealand is interesting. Should you die down here, they will automatically include all your kids. So if you have taken some of your kids out of your wills, I know there was a guy here, his one kid was a bit of a problem child, and he's already spent a heck of a lot of money on the kids. That kid could not be taken out of the will. Although he has taken the kid out of the will, should he die, that kid will be automatically included into the will and will get a portion, even for whatever reason he took them out. There's no real reason. And even if you got kids on, as they call it on the side, kids that you had a bit before you got married, those kids will also be included in your will normally. Question: having lived in New Zealand, which town do you believe is the best to raise kids in? I think any town in New Zealand is, according to me, better than South Africa, because here kids can walk around, they can live free, they can live like I lived in the 70s. So, but a specific child to raise kids in, or a specific town to raise kids in, I would think probably out of Auckland, probably your smaller towns, your little like Tauranga, probably Christchurch as well, could be smaller towns. The problem with the very smaller towns, I actually saw something yesterday on a news what was this on a news thing, that they said that some of the smaller towns have got a curfew for kids because the kids are so bored there, they go and break down stuff just because they're bored. And there was a real small town, another small town called Tauranga, just around the corner from us. So there they presumably got a curfew at night. I think it's 9 o'clock and all the kids got to be home. So probably not a bad thing as well, but yeah. So let me see. Samantha asking, what is the New Zealand policy on work retrenchments? Is it similar to South Africa? I know they have a policy. If you the first 3 months you can be fired at any time. That's the one thing. So for the first 3 months you can be fired at any time, and then the next 3 months thereafter they can also get rid of you, but they have certain amounts that they've got to pay you out and so on. So I don't really remember exactly how the South African one worked. I know if you fired there, somebody had to pay them about a month's extra, and you had to pay out the annual leave and so on, whatever was due to them, which is good. But I know in New Zealand, probably if you've got annual leave as well, that will also be paid out to you. New Zealand isn't really a country that goes just about to hire on fire. It's not a real thing here. There's a lot of people that sit around at the house as well, or sit around at the companies as well, and not doing a lot, and they don't get fired. So it's more a thing of we try to accommodate everybody, and as the New Zealand saying is, there, you don't know what you don't know. So if you are bad in your job, you just say to them, you don't know what you don't know. So always comes back to you don't know what you don't know. But at the end of the day, the New Zealand policy on retrenchments, I think there is certain legal ways that they must do it, and there's certain legal way that they have to do this. So just keep that in mind. If you are fired and you feel at any time that you need to speak to somebody regarding this, there is free law areas or free law offices in every little town. What they are called, I don't know. I think it's community law or something like that. So if anything is wrong with you, you just go there and you speak to them, and they can help you on the right way, even from rental contracts to buying a car, anything. These guys will really look at you and give you an opinion and so on. If you really need to go further, you probably need to get a lawyer on your side. So, question from Dion Miller: is it true that New Zealand has a lot of gangsters? Every country's got gangsters. New Zealand has got to have gangsters as well. They call themselves. There's quite a few of them, quite a few different groups now that's gangsters here. But they love to wear red and black and go around. Sorry, I forgot their name now. That's how insignificant they actually is. So, yeah, New Zealand does have gangsters, but they're out there. If you don't mingle with them, you basically don't even see them. I mean, for us, we live in a bit of a not the best area in town, and there's supposed to be a lot of gangsters around here. I can promise you I haven't seen any of them. So it's not like a gangster that you guys are thinking about, people getting in a combi with AK-47s and driving around and robbing people. That gangsters more here is the promotion of they sell drugs and that type of thing. So, but the police do have their hands on it. Oh yeah, mongrel mob. Mongrel mob. Mongrel mob is the big one, and Black Power is the one that came over from Australia now. A lot of bad Kiwis that was that side, and they got thrown out by the government, and so they're back here now, starting their own chapter of the Black Power. So, yeah. Thanks, Vincent, for that, for bailing me out there this morning. I don't know a lot further about the gangsters. I did some volunteer work with the police for quite a while, and it's always a thing where you got to look out for the gangsters and so on, but they weren't very high on the priority list. So a lot of drugs going through the gangsters. That is one big thing. So that's probably something, but I don't think you should actually say, I'm scared of the gangsters and not come to New Zealand for that reason. So I would rather be scared of the gangsters back in old country than the gangsters down here. So any other questions? Let's see. All right. As I said, winter is coming down to the North Island. And very soon we'll have crisper mornings down in Tauranga way. The guys on the South Island, I see they are expecting a bit of a polar blast somewhere this week. I just don't know exactly when. So yeah, that's a bit about the weather. the water temperature down here, the ocean temperature down here currently will be probably over 20 degrees still for a bit of a period onwards, and then once it drops below 18, that's when we actually stop fishing, because then it's just, the fish becomes scarce at that stage. You need to drive or go further away from your base just to catch the same amount of fish, but there is still fish around. So sadly we can't catch fish now, so it's bad, man. My freezer is empty. So I'll be asking, is there only private schools or is it homeschool? There is a few private schools. There is a few people who is homeschooling. I know some of the South Africans are homeschooling. How good or how bad that is, I'm not going to even try and stick my nose in there because I don't know it all. I've just spoken to somebody a while ago who said that they actually took the kids out of the private school and put them into the public school, as they call it here, or the government school, because the government school had better facilities than the private school. Except private schools here, you pay a heck of a lot of money for, and government schools or public schools, you do a donation, something like $150 or something. It's not a lot of money. It's really, coming from South Africa, where my last kid was in school, what, about 6 years ago, and I paid something like 1,500 Rand a month just to have him there. And that was in a government school. So that's about what they pay you for the whole year as a donation. So you don't even really need to give that, but people just give that because that's the right thing to do. Let's see if there's any other questions here. No. What's going to happen in the future? Jacinda made it quite clear yesterday that we are going to stick out to the 4 weeks. Are they going to make it longer? She didn't say it all. Are they going to be a bit stricter about people being out there? It looks like they are really going to tackle people not adhering to the laws. Although I gotta say, it's not a lot of people. People walk everywhere these days. There's a lot of people. If we go walking, there's a lot of people walking. But people stick to their bubbles. When anybody approaches us, we just step off and take our 2 meters apart in the street, and then we step back on the pavement. So, and other people do that with us as well. People just cross the road. People with dogs, I see especially, cross the road. I don't know if they think people are going to stop and pat the dog, which is also just as dangerous as anything else, because the virus can stick to the dog. So, Andres writing, nights and early mornings are getting a bit fresh already here in Nelson. Winter's on the way. Yeah, Nelson is quite a beautiful place as well. But presumably the winter is a bit more harsh down there in the Southlands than up here at north. If you think about it, where we are in Tauranga, then our next town, about an hour and a half's drive from here, is Hamilton. And then you take Auckland, that side, it's about 3 hours drive. If you take that triangle, 3/4 of all people in New Zealand live in this area. So this is what probably this is the most populated area of New Zealand. So Elsevier Snowman asking if there's any nightclubs and pubs as in South Africa. There is nightclubs and there is pubs down here in New Zealand. Interesting thing is, your coffee shops normally close down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That is just one of those things. At 7 o'clock in the morning, you can walk into any coffee shops. It will be buzzing. There will be people sitting mostly with their jogging gear on or their bike helmets on. They've just done a bit of exercise, and then they go for their coffee and cake. So 7 o'clock in the morning, most of the coffee shops are already up and running, and they're really buzzing in there. But nightclubs, I'm not a big nightclub goer, so I haven't been in a nightclub for about 20 odd years or so. But yep, nightclubs, there are some of the restaurants down at what they call the Strand down here. It's like a bit of a waterfront thing down here in Tauranga. Although it's not called the waterfront, it's called the Strand. The normal restaurants at night close down, and then they open like nightclub vibe in there. So I think it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night they switch over from being a restaurant to becoming a nightclub. I've seen my son goes out some nights to these type of nightclubs, but they only leave very late at night. So yeah, late night stories, and then tomorrow morning they all slag. They can't lift their heads. Been a long night. So pubs, there's quite a lot of pubs down here. They've got the very Irish pub as well, as you guys know, the Irish pubs. They got their own type of Kiwi style of pub. Pubs comes with a lot of hokey machines, what they call that slot machines. Slot machines, sometimes, I think some of the pubs have even got up to 20 slot machines in there. I don't know what the norms is. I know in South Africa you were not allowed to have more than 6 slot machines per pub. So, Anthony Minna saying, the best choice I've ever made was moving to New Zealand, or moving to Nelson, New Zealand kids. New Zealand kids are much safer and free to go to the park and hiking. Yep. I am still coming to Nelson. That is a promise. I do have quite a few clients down there now, and I am still coming to Nelson. Probably at the end of the year, if Jacinda allows us to travel, then I'll probably hook up my little caravan and go down to the South Island and see what's happening down there. So, Natasha Hampson saying, thanks for this. I'm looking at Nelson as a potential place. I've heard nothing bad about Nelson, to be quite frank. So, yeah. One thing about coffee in New Zealand is crazy about coffee. And this Elsby coming in. Whoa, I love my coffee. We'll love something like this in South Africa. Wimpy is the only one that's open at 7 o'clock in the morning. Yep. New Zealanders pride themselves about the quality coffees they do here. You can basically do anything with coffee. If you are out there and you need a coffee in New Zealand, from a flat white to Americano to tall black to mochachinos, stuffed with lovely chocolate on top. Oh my goodness, there my mouth goes. It's time for me for a coffee as well. The wife has put me on the diet, as I said to everybody last night, but yep, it's going good. It's day 2 of my diet, and what are we, day 13 of lockdown, so not too bad. Let's see what any other questions here. Yeah, Nelson, I'll probably get one of these guys to talk to us about Nelson one day. So let's tell me when you're ready to come on, and we'll speak a bit about Nelson. So Leonie asking, sorry if it's been asked, what are the job prospects now? 0. My husband there on LSD, Luxie side, not the drug, arrived 8 February and then lockdown. What is future prospects to find a job as a South African now? Future prospects for the next 3 months is 0, to be quite frank. And thereafter, I would think slowly the job market will start opening again. But that's probably a big discussion on its own. Natasha Hansen asking, are there a lot of spiders in New Zealand? There's a heck of a lot of spiders here. A heck of a lot of spiders, to be quite frank. You can park your car outside tonight and tomorrow morning you'll have spider webs all over the car, but they're not poisonous. There's one that's presumably a bit poisonous, but not that major. So, Chantal saying, I haven't seen any nightclubs in Invercargill either. Yep, I haven't been to Invercargill yet, but Audrey Jansen said, they're going to show me around when I come to Nelson. Yep, I want to come to Nelson. So I've had a nice chat the other day with somebody about Nelson, and they told me a bit about it. Feels like a farm town. So, and at least a bit saying, if we have to lose our jobs after the lockdown, do you know how much time we have to find another job or have to leave New Zealand if you're on an LTSS visa? We have been invited to apply for residency, but still waiting for our post from SA before we can submit. I think the norm is, and don't quote me here, Vanita's probably the person to answer this question actually, but you have about a month after you lose your job to find something else. But I think after this lockdown, there will be a bit more lenient, I think, on people that's already here. So just keep that in mind. This is not a dictatorship down here. There is people working with human hearts down here, and if you have really got a problem like this, they'll probably take time to listen to you, probably take time to help you as well. So Lauren Lindicke saying, a question I wanted to ask is got to do with COVID. If I have asthma and have been told by my go-to not work due to being high risk, would it be subsidized in New Zealand? Not sure if you can help me. I'm not sure if I can help you there. So I think best is either to get the guys that work with the COVID stuff directly. I would assume that you are in New Zealand currently. Dion Miller, any info on how the voting system works? Voting is quite interesting. Yeah, they send you the voting papers in the post, you fill them in, you send them back. It's as easy as that. That's what we did with the local. We had to elect a mayor down here. Send us the things in the post. The wife wasn't down there. and we just completed her details, sent it back. They sent her stuff because she wasn't on the first one, and then we just completed this, sent it back, and we voted. That's as easy as that. So no standing in queues, no taking your ID, no getting thumb marks. They trust you. They send you your papers, you fill them in, you send them back. So Vanita's saying New Zealand will look at highly skilled people once the borders open. I think the highly skilled people will always be in demand here, always. This is a growing country. This is really a growing country. And remember, highly skilled people ain't always just brain surgeons and these type of people. Down there, amongst the people that does the work with their hands, there's also highly skilled people. And you will always have a place somewhere in New Zealand. The only problem now is you're not allowed to come here. So keep that in mind. Vanita's saying the National Party was told not to do their campaigning now due to COVID. Yeah, that's probably a good thing. April saying, how long do you think our residency apps will be delayed? I don't know. Depending on how long we are in lockdown. If we are going to be 4 weeks in lockdown, I think just to get the economy back on run will take about 3 times that. So if we have 4 weeks on lockdown, it will take about 12 weeks just to get the economy back up and running. Because there's a lot of things. The reason why I'm saying this. Just before lockdown, I sat down and I spoke to a heck of a lot of contractors down here. And they said all their bigger clients has told them to put everything on hold for 2 to 3 months at least. That was even before lockdown. So everything was put on hold because people were seeing that there's an unseen economic times ahead. So they delayed everything. And then thereafter, to get all of this started back up will take time. Because now you've got to, if you are the builder and you need to build something and somebody has put you on hold, you need to convince them again that it's a good time to start up now. And that all the problems has already gone past. Because the one thing after the lockdown will be the uncertainty. Are we going to go into a new lockdown? Was we 100% successful, or did we not succeed? And if there's any doubt that we did not succeed, then probably that uncertainty will linger a bit longer. That will stay in the system, the uncertainty, until we are at that point where we feel that economically we are well off again, and then the stuff will start. It's just easy as that. As soon as people start buying again, then we will need to build more. It's just like that. Televisions will take a while before they start selling, but eventually they will be starting selling again. Then they will have to make new televisions. It's like that. So, all right. Natasha Hansen asking, is a diesel mechanic highly skilled? In my eyes they are, but I don't know in the eyes of immigration. So Vanita can probably just give us a yes or a no there. Vanita's saying maybe about 6 months to the 12 to 15 months of processing. We have no indication of the delays. So probably a 6-month delay on that. Is that, if I'm reading that post correctly? All right, guys and girls, thanks for having a good chat with me this morning. Yeah, I think the highly skilled will have to be offline. I'll have to get some feedback from Vanita first, Leonie, before I can answer your last question. Thanks for chatting to me. Tomorrow morning we'll be back. We're trying to get somebody to perform live tomorrow evening or Wednesday evening in New Zealand for us on here, to get a bit of a little vibe for music vibe out there, but we'll keep you posted once that happens. So, all right, Vanita saying the diesel mechanics are on the long-term skill shortage list. Yes, they are highly skilled. So, guys, diesel mechanic is probably one of the people who works with us most of the time. So, that's why I'm saying, if you work with us, you can also be highly skilled. You do not need to be a brain surgeon only to be a highly skilled. So, keep that in mind. Yeah. All right, guys and girls, that's me. My name is Jan Viljoen, all the way from Welcome Bay in Tauranga in the North Island. I'm a financial advisor. I'm not an immigration advisor, so I can't give you ever am I allowed to give you immigration advice. But if you need any help with any of your policies, insurance, we are open. Feel free to give us a call. Thanks a lot. Have a nice view this morning before I switch off.